7 life skills school never taught you. Skill 1, how to say no without guilt. One of the hardest skills in life is learning how to say no without feeling guilty about it. Most people say yes not because they want to, but because they are afraid of disappointing others, afraid of conflict, afraid of being judged or seen as selfish. But every time you say yes when you mean no, you abandon yourself a little. Your time becomes someone else's. Your energy becomes someone else's. Your life starts following a path you never chose. Saying no is not disrespectful. It is self-respect. It is choosing your priorities, your boundaries, your mental health. When you learn to say no with clarity and calmness, you stop living for approval and start living for yourself. Protecting your time is one of the greatest acts of self-love you will ever learn. Skill 2, how to build self-confidence. Confidence is not something you're born with. It is something you build, slowly, intentionally, repeatedly. Most people think confidence means being loud, bold, fearless. But real confidence is quiet. It's the inner belief that you can handle life. Even when you're scared, confidence grows every time you keep a promise to yourself. Every time you take a small step. Even when you don't feel ready. Every time you choose action over self-doubt. And confidence dies when you break your own trust. When you tell yourself you'll try, but you don't. When you avoid challenges. When you let fear decide for you. You don't become confident by waiting. You become confident by building evidence that you are capable, reliable, strong. And the more evidence you build, the louder the inner voice becomes. The one that says, I can do this. Skill 3, how to stop caring about people's opinions. You care about what people think because your mind is wired for belonging. Wanting approval doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. But living for other people's opinions slowly destroys your confidence, your identity, your potential. Most people you're afraid of disappointing are not even thinking about you. They are too busy worrying about their own lives, their own insecurities, their own image. The truth is, criticism is temporary, but regret lasts forever. So choose the life that feels right to you, not the life that looks right to others. When you stop chasing approval, you start attracting respect. And when you stop trying to be liked by everyone, you finally become yourself. Skill 4, how to control your attention. In a world full of distractions, your attention is your most valuable currency. Everything and everyone is fighting for it. Apps, notifications, messages, noise, the endless pull of 1,000 tiny things that want to control your mind. Most people don't lose focus because they are lazy. They lose it because their environment is designed to steal it. The first step to controlling your attention is understanding what steals it. The second step is removing the unnecessary, the noise, the clutter, the constant stimulation. The third step is directing your attention intentionally, choosing what deserves your mind and ignoring what doesn't. Your attention shapes your life. Where your attention goes, your time goes. And where your time goes, your life follows. Skill 5, how to build discipline. Discipline is not about being strict or harsh. It is about building a life you can rely on. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your reality, between who you are and who you want to become. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. They wait for motivation, but motivation is unreliable. Discipline is what stays when motivation disappears. Discipline grows in small daily actions. The things you do even when you don't feel like it. Every tiny habit becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. You build discipline by keeping promises to yourself, by choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. And every time you follow through, you prove to yourself, I can depend on me. That is the power of discipline, the quiet force that builds every great achievement. Skill 6, how to stop overthinking. Overthinking is one of the most exhausting habits the mind can have. It takes small problems and turns them into storms. It plays the worst scenarios in your head and convinces you they're real. Most people overthink because they want to feel safe. They want certainty, control, prediction. But the truth is, the more you try to control everything in your mind, the more your mind begins to control you. The first step is awareness. noticing when your thoughts start looping, noticing when you repeat the same fear over and over again. The second step is grounding, coming back to reality, to what is actually happening, not what your mind is imagining. And the third step is release, letting go of the thoughts you cannot use, cannot change, cannot control. When you learn to observe your thoughts without believing every one of them, overthinking loses its power, and you finally get your peace back. Skill 7, how to manage your emotions. Your emotions are powerful. Sometimes they feel like storms inside your mind. Loud, chaotic, impossible to control. Most people aren't taught how to handle this. They react instantly to anger, stress, fear, or disappointment, not because they are weak, but because no one showed them how to pause. But emotional strength begins in that pause, that tiny moment you take before responding. A breath, a thought, a chance to understand yourself. When you slow down and name what you feel, this is fear. This is frustration. This is sadness. The emotion stops being a monster. It becomes something you can hold, something you can calm, something you can control. Clarity gives you strength. And when you understand your emotions instead of fighting them, you stop being a prisoner of your reactions and start becoming the master of your life.